It happened fast. You were tired. The day had been long. And then, they chewed something. They barked too much. They jumped where they shouldn't have. So your voice rose. Not because you don't love them, but because you were overwhelmed. But here's what you didn't see. The way their ears dropped. The way their body tensed. The way their eyes softened with confusion and fear. To you, it was a reaction. To them, it was a rupture. Because dogs don't understand frustration the way humans do. They don't hear volume. They feel meaning. And when you raise your voice, you don't just startle them. You shake the world they thought was safe. In this video, we're going to explore what really happens inside your dog when you yell. Emotionally, physiologically, relationally. Not to shame you, but to help you rebuild something stronger. More aware, more compassionate, and more loving than before. Dogs don't speak our language, but they read everything. Your dog doesn't understand the words, but they understand you. They read the rise in your voice, the tightness in your body, the sharp movement of your hand, the shift in your energy, even when you haven't said a single word yet. To a dog, communication is about patterns, tone, and presence. They don't speak English, they speak emotion. So when you shout, they don't think he's correcting me. They feel. Something is wrong, and I think it's me. They see the eyes they trust, suddenly intense. They hear the voice that once sang, now crashing like thunder. And because they can't ask for clarity, they fill the silence with fear. Imagine someone you love raising their voice at you in a language you don't understand. Not once, but when you're most vulnerable. Now imagine how much more confusing that is when you're a creature wired only to love and follow. That's what yelling feels like to a dog. Not discipline, but emotional disruption. Not communication, but disconnection. What happens in their mind and body when you yell? The moment your voice rises, something inside your dog changes. You might just feel annoyed, but they feel unsafe. Their ears flatten, their tail lowers, or disappears completely. They might freeze in place, or slowly back away. Inside their body, cortisol, the stress hormone, spikes. Their heart rate quickens, muscles tighten, ready to flee or collapse. It's not because they know they did something wrong. It's because they sense that the one person who makes them feel safe suddenly doesn't. For sensitive dogs, even a single loud outburst can leave a lasting emotional imprint. They don't file it as discipline. They store it as uncertainty. That uncertainty can manifest days or even weeks later, hesitating when you call them, flinching when you move too fast, looking away instead of seeking your eyes. Yelling doesn't stay in the air, it stays in their nervous system. And for a creature that loves you more than they love themselves, that kind of fear is more than discomfort. It's a heartbreak. Guilt is not what you think it is. You've seen it before. The moment after you yell, they look away, they lower their head, they might even slink into another room. And you think, see, they know they did something wrong. But here's the truth. That isn't guilt, it's fear. Dogs don't reflect on past actions the way humans do. They live in the now. And in the now, what they feel most is your anger. Their guilty look isn't an admission of wrongdoing. It's a survival response. They've learned over time that certain tones and postures mean something bad is happening. So they shrink, soften, hide. Not because they understand what upset you, but because they're trying to avoid more pain. It's not awareness, it's submission. And when we mistake fear for guilt, we risk reinforcing a cycle where fear is mistaken for learning, and love becomes conditional. True learning happens in safety. True bonding happens in trust. And no creature should have to shrink themselves just to keep your peace. Repeated yelling doesn't teach, it damages. One raised voice might confuse them, but repeated yelling, that changes them. A dog who hears anger too often doesn't become more obedient. They become more cautious, more closed off, more uncertain about the world they used to trust. They might stop wagging when you come home, hesitate before approaching, watch your every move for signs of danger, not because they don't love you, but because they're trying not to get it wrong again. And slowly, something sacred begins to fracture, the invisible thread of safety between you. That thread is what makes them follow you into new places, sleep beside you without fear, look into your eyes and feel calm. When that thread is strained by constant tension, they no longer come to you with joy. They come with caution. And here's the part we rarely see. The dog who seems well-behaved because they don't make mistakes anymore might just be the one who has given up trying, not from respect, but from fear. And fear never builds loyalty. It only builds distance. One bark, one flinch, one yell at a time. The ripple effect on behavior and trust. You might not notice the change at first. They still eat. They still walk beside you. They still wag sometimes. But beneath the routine, the relationship begins to shift. A dog who was once excited to meet new people now hides behind your legs. A dog who used to run to you without hesitation now pauses, checking your mood. It's not disobedience. It's a coping mechanism. The trust that once flowed freely starts to become selective, contingent on your tone, your mood, your reactions. You may even see new behaviors, avoiding eye contact, pacing when you enter a room, tensing up when your voice gets louder, even if you're not yelling at them. This is how trauma whispers, not with bites or barks, but with hesitations, with distance, with silence where joy used to be. Because dogs don't need words to build relationships. They use rhythm, safety, consistency. And once that rhythm is broken, repeatedly, they don't stop loving you, but they do stop feeling completely safe. And when love is no longer safe, everything else changes. What dogs actually need when they mess up. Dogs will make mistakes. They'll chew what they shouldn't. They'll bark at shadows. They'll dig, jump, tear, tug, because they're dogs. And when they do, they don't need punishment. They need guidance. They don't learn best through fear. They learn through clarity, through repetition, through energy that says, you're safe, but let me show you a better way. Instead of yelling, try redirection. Catch the behavior early. Interrupt calmly. Offer an alternative, then reward it. Instead of punishing after the fact, teach in the moment. Dogs don't connect consequences to something that happened 5 minutes ago, but they remember how you made them feel. Use your voice like a compass, not a weapon. Firm doesn't have to mean loud. Clear doesn't have to mean cold. Your dog craves structure, but within that structure, they also crave connection. Correct with kindness, set boundaries with love, and always make room for recovery, so mistakes don't become fear, and learning never costs them your affection. Because discipline that breaks trust isn't training, it's a betrayal of the bond. If you've yelled before, here's how to heal the bond. Maybe you've raised your voice, maybe more than once. Maybe you're watching this right now with a heavy heart, remembering the look on their face the last time you lost control. But here's the truth. Dogs are some of the most forgiving souls you'll ever meet, and repair is always possible. Start small. Sit beside them, not above them. Let your voice soften. Let your energy slow down. Call their name the way you did when you first brought them home, with joy, not tension. You don't need grand gestures, just moments of presence, a gentle stroke down their back, a smile they can feel in your tone, a walk where your attention belongs only to them. Over time, they'll lean back in. They'll follow your eyes again. Their tail will wag without hesitation, because dogs don't hold grudges. They hold space. Space for you to be better. kinder, more aware. And the beautiful part is, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. When love becomes your default, they forget the noise, but they remember the peace you return to. That's how healing happens, one quiet moment at a time. They don't remember what you said. They remember how it felt, the sharpness, the distance, the shift in your tone that made their world feel less safe, even just for a moment. But they also remember the softness, the times you knelt down, the way your hand lingered a little longer during the apology, the warmth in your voice when you came back to center. Because dogs don't expect perfection. They only ask for presence, for patience, for love that doesn't vanish when mistakes appear. So the next time you feel your frustration rising, pause, breathe. Look at the creature who still chooses you every single day, even when your energy is messy. Let that love be enough to soften your voice, to slow your reactions, to teach, not tear. Because the bond you share isn't built in commands, it's built in compassion. And your dog, they're not just listening, they're feeling everything. So speak to them in the way they deserve to be loved. And they'll never forget the sound of your kindness.